No one believed it at first. At 3:12 a.m. Greenwich time, an array of telescopes in Chile picked up a gravitational anomaly where there should have been empty space. By dawn, 3 separate observatories confirmed it. An entire planet had appeared out of nothingness. No slow drift from deep space, no rogue body passing through. It had materialized. And the strangest part, we already knew this planet. Its spectral fingerprint matched a world cataloged in the archives. Chorus 7, destroyed nearly 3 billion years ago when its star went supernova. The records were clear it had been vaporized, erased from existence, reduced to dust scattered across the void. And yet, there it was again, whole, perfect, shimmering in the black. News broke before governments could contain it. Screens across America lit up with the headline, GHOS Plan Retornes. Some called it a miracle, some a cosmic glitch, others the end of days. For me, Captain Elena Vega of the exploratory vessel Horizon, it was something else, an invitation. NASA's voice on the encrypted line was calm but urgent. Captain, your crew is being reassigned. Mission clearance Omega. You're going to Chorus 7. I didn't hesitate. My grandfather had been an astronomer, one of the first to map Chorus 7's orbit before it vanished into stellar death. He used to tell me bedtime stories about its oceans, its twin moons, its sprawling cities glimpsed in fractured data. A world that had lived, died, and been forgotten, and now it was back. The Horizon was outfitted in record time. A skeleton crew, Dr. Malik, astrophysicist Chen, systems engineer Harper, communications officer Ortiz, pilot, all veterans of deep space travel, all silent during launch, each of us trying to process the enormity of what lay ahead. No simulation, no textbook, no theory prepared you for something like this. A planet that should not exist. A planet that refused to stay dead. Think of it like a ghost. Harper said once we cleared Earth's orbit. His voice carried the half-joking tone of a man who used humor as armor. Except this ghost has mass, atmosphere, gravity. The whole shebang. The Malik shook his head. No, this isn't a ghost. This is something else. Physics doesn't resurrect planets. Not after billions of years. Maybe physics isn't the only law out here. Ortiz muttered from the cockpit. The journey was short by cosmic standards. Just outside the Kuiper Belt, nestled like a secret jewel at the edge of our solar system. As the horizon closed in, I gripped the armrests tighter than I meant to. They're at Chorus 7. Blue-green oceans glimmered under twin moons, mountain ranges sliced across continents, and vast cities sprawled across its surface like veins of light frozen in stone. Except nothing moved. No waves, no clouds shifting across the sky, no flicker of activity in the cities. It was a still photograph, impossibly vast, impossibly real. Jesus, Chen whispered. It's alive. No, Malik corrected, his voice trembling. It's paused. ER ship orbited slowly, scanning. Every system reported the same impossible truth: oxygen, rich atmosphere, stable magnetic field, temperature ranges suitable for life. But there was no life moving. Every biosignature read as static, fixed. It was as if the entire planet had been caught in a single instant of time. And then Ortiz called us to the viewport. Look. Below us sprawled the capital city, towers spiraling like crystal, bridges arched over gleaming rivers. And there in the streets we saw them, figures. Millions of them. Not shadows, not fossils, not ruins, beings. Frozen mid-stride, soldiers with weapons raised. Children running to embrace parents, leaders standing before crowds, mouths open mid-speech. A civilization locked in its last breath. Harper backed away from the glass, his voice cracked. We shouldn't be here. This is wrong. But I couldn't look away. My grandfather's stories, my years of training, the weight of human history, it all pressed down on me. This wasn't just discovery. This was contact. A civilization preserved not in ruins but in time itself. And in that moment, standing on the edge of the impossible, I knew 2 things. First, Chorus 7 hadn't simply returned. It had been returned. Secondly, whatever force had done this wasn't finished. The world below us wasn't just a planet. It was a message. And we had just answered it. The horizon slid into low orbit, its engines humming a steady rhythm that felt almost out of place against the silence of the world below. My crew sat strapped in, eyes fixed on the surface. No one spoke. We were explorers, scientists, astronauts, trained for every contingency imaginable. Yet this was not in any handbook. Autopilot holding steady, Ortiz reported, though his voice was tight. His hands gripped the controls harder than they needed to. Any sign of movement? I asked. Chen shook her head, her eyes glued to the scanners. Negative. Biosignatures are everywhere, but nothing's changing. It's like they're alive but frozen. All of them. Dr. Malik leaned forward, tapping the console with restless fingers. This shouldn't be possible. The energy needed to suspend an entire biosphere in stasis. He stopped himself. His mind was working faster than his mouth could catch up. Harper muttered under his breath. Feels like we're walking into a museum built by God. The comparison stuck with me. A museum, a mausoleum, a planet embalmed in time. Our landing site was chosen carefully. A flat stretch of stone near the edge of the capital city. The descent burned bright in the silence of the void. Thrusters roared, dust kicked up, and then silence again. The landing gear touched down with a hiss. My chest tightened. We were the first humans to stand here, the first to breathe its air. Suit integrity green, Chen reported. Atmosphere is safe. Oxygen levels slightly higher than Earth's, nitrogen within range. It's breathable. I hesitated before giving the order. There was something deeply unsettling about stepping into a world where an entire civilization had been frozen mid-scream. But hesitation had no place here. Helmets on. We move in pairs. No one goes out of sight. The ramp lowered. A gust of warm, dry air swept inside, carrying the faintest trace of ozone, like the aftermath of a thunderstorm. Welcome to Kura 7, I said, though my voice cracked when I tried to make it sound steady. The city greeted us like a photograph, a snapshot of its final moment. We walked through streets paved in stone that glimmered faintly under the twin moons. Towers loomed above, their windows catching the pale light. And everywhere they were. The people of Chorus. They stood frozen on sidewalks, in doorways, on balconies, mid-stride, mid-sentence, mid-laugh. Some with fear etched into their eyes, others with hands raised as if to block an unseen force. Children clung to parents. Lovers clasped hands. Soldiers aimed weapons that would never fire. The air itself felt heavy, thick with an unspoken pressure, as if time's flow resisted us. Chen whispered, "It's like they were stopped. All at once. No bodies." Malik added, his voice shaking. "No decay. Perfect preservation. This is not death. This is something else." I crouched beside one of them, a young woman no older than I was when I first joined the academy. Her hair was caught mid-motion, like it was suspended in water. Her eyes, wide, stared past me at something I couldn't see. Her lips were parted as if she had been about to scream. I reached out, hand trembling, and stopped myself inches away. Some instinct screamed against touching her. Behind me, Harper's voice cut through the stillness. "Captain, I think you should see this." But we followed him into the city's plaza. At its center stood a monument, not stone, not metal, but something crystalline, humming faintly as though alive. It wasn't frozen. Its surface shifted with slow ripples of light, flowing like liquid glass. The monument pulsed, almost like a heartbeat. "Finally," Malik whispered, awe in his voice. "Something that moves." Ortiz's hand hovered near the grip of his sidearm, though we all knew it would be useless against whatever force had done this. "Feels like a trap," he muttered. The closer I got, the more I felt it, a vibration low and deep, resonating in my bones. My visor display flickered, sensors spiking erratically. And then, without warning, the monument pulsed brighter. The ground beneath our boots trembled. For the first time since we arrived, something changed. The frozen figures all around us shimmered faintly, as though reacting to the light. And then I heard it, a whisper. Not from the air, not from any direction I could pinpoint, but inside my head. A single word spoken in a voice I couldn't recognize. "Welcome." Ortiz stumbled back. "Tell me you all heard that?" We had. I saw it in their faces. The same shock, the same dread, the same terrible recognition. Harper's voice broke. "Captain, this isn't a museum. This is an invitation." No one corrected him this time. The plaza was a graveyard of motionless life. Thousands of eyes frozen in terror seemed to stare through us as we stood before the humming monument. Its surface pulsed again, faint ripples of light crawling up its crystalline body like veins glowing under skin. My chest tightened with each wave, as though my heartbeat wasn't mine anymore, but synchronized with it. "Say something," Malik whispered. His scientist's curiosity was fighting a battle with his fear. If it spoke once, it will speak again. But it didn't, not in unison. Instead, it spoke differently to each of us. Chen stiffened first, her gloved hand shooting to her helmet as if she could block the sound. "What is it?" I asked. Her voice cracked. "It's my mother. I hear my mother." "That's impossible," Harper said sharply. His eyes darted between us. Chen's visor fogged with her heavy breathing. "She's saying she forgives me." I froze. Chen's mother had died 2 years ago. I was there when she got the news, back on the horizon. And then Ortiz cursed under his breath, staggering backward like he'd been struck. No, no, that's not real. That's not. What do you hear? He swallowed, trembling. My son. He's calling for me. He's scared. His voice broke on the last word. Harper snapped. Don't listen to it. It's playing with us. But his own words faltered. His face had gone pale, sweat dripping inside his helmet. Oh, it knows. It knows what I've... He shut his eyes tight, biting down hard on whatever he almost confessed. The monument glowed brighter, its whispers overlapping, weaving through our minds in voices we couldn't ignore. Malik stepped closer, utterly transfixed. His lips moved, but his mic barely picked it up. It's not manipulation, it's access. It's reaching into memory, language, identity. It's learning us. I wanted to drag him back, to pull all of us away, but my own whisper came then. A voice. Not my crew, not my past. Something else. You came. I froze, my breath hitching in my throat. Unlike the others, mine wasn't family, wasn't guilt, wasn't memory. It was alien, deep, resonant. And yet it felt like it knew me. I tried to speak, but my throat went dry. The words barely formed. What are you? The monument pulsed, and every frozen figure in the plaza shimmered again, like a heat mirage. Malik's scanner shrieked with data overload. The energy readings are spiking off the charts. Captain, it's activating something. We fell into formation, instinct taking over where reason faltered. Harper raised his rifle, a meaningless gesture against something that could warp our minds. But it was the only defense he knew. Chen grabbed my arm. Captain, we shouldn't be here. This thing isn't just observing, it's engaging. Her words barely registered, because at that moment the plaza shifted. The monument's light stretched outward in arcs of liquid brilliance, crawling across the ground like veins. The lines snaked under the frozen people, connecting them one by one until the whole city square glowed. And then, movement. The first Eurasian twitched. Just a flicker of a finger, a ripple through hair caught mid-motion. Then another, and another. Chen screamed. They're waking up. Not fully. Their bodies jerked in unnatural spasms, heads snapping to angles no living being could endure. Faces twisted, caught between frozen terror and forced animation. One soldier's arm raised, still gripping a weapon, though his eyes remained glassy and blank. Another child's head turned toward us, mouth opening in a silent, endless scream. Ortiz stumbled back, almost tripping over rubble. What the hell is happening? Malik's voice was tight, awestruck, and horrified all at once. It's showing us. This is what it did to them. And then the whispers came again. But this time they were unified. A single voice layered from thousands, resonating from every direction, inside every skull. We are not gone. My blood went cold. The city of the dead, the people frozen in time, weren't relics, they weren't preserved. They were prisoners. Still conscious, still aware, still screaming. And the monument was their warden. The ground quaked. The frozen city pulsed with energy stretching out beyond the horizon. Chen grabbed my shoulder, eyes wide with panic. Captain, if this spreads to us... I cut her off. Back to the ship. Now. But the whispers followed, louder, clawing into my mind. You came. You will join. We ran. Boots slammed against the stone plaza, the sound swallowed by the oppressive silence of a world that should not exist. Behind us, the monument pulsed brighter with every step, its glow racing through the veins of the city, spreading like infection. The frozen Eurasians twitched in grotesque unison, their bodies caught between life and stasis. Some staggered forward, limbs bending with sickening cracks as if their joints remembered movement but their flesh had forgotten how to follow. Don't look back, I barked. Chen did anyway. Her scream cracked over comms. They're chasing us. I risked a glance. She was right. The once frozen figures lurched after us, their movements jerky, mechanical, yet horrifyingly fast. Their mouths hung open in eternal screams, but no sound came out. Thousands of glassy eyes fixed on us with predatory hunger. Malik's scanner shrieked with overload. This isn't just reanimation. He gasped between breaths. It's a network. The monument is controlling them like extensions of itself. That's not helping, Ortiz shouted, nearly slipping on the rubble. We rounded a collapsed archway and sprinted into a wide avenue lined with statuesque figures. Their stillness was worse than movement, each one poised in mid-stride, hands reaching, as if waiting for permission to pounce. The monument's whispers surged again, inside our helmets, inside our skulls. You endure. You endure with us. My teeth clenched. Not today. Harper raised his rifle and fired. Plasma bursts cut through the air, slamming into two figures blocking our path. Their bodies shattered into fragments of crystalline flesh. For a heartbeat, it seemed to work. Then the shards quivered on the ground, pulled back together like liquid metal, reforming the bodies before our eyes. The shattered pieces fused back into twisted versions of themselves, limbs misshapen, eyes glowing with the monument's sickly light. "Keep moving," I ordered. "We're not fighting that." The ship, our lifeline, was parked beyond the ruins, visible now as a silver glint against the horizon. But the city wasn't letting us go so easily. The ground split beneath us, glowing fissures snaking across the stone like veins of fire. Towers in the distance shifted, crumbling not downward but upward, reshaping themselves into jagged spires that blocked the sky. The city wasn't dead. The city was alive. Chen's voice trembled. "Captain, the planet, it's rebuilding itself." Then we run faster. We cut through another street, frozen citizens jerking awake all around us. Some collapsed in spasms, others staggered to their feet, their motions sensing like puppets on strings. A child in mid-scream crawled across the ground toward us on all fours, limbs snapping backward as though her bones were pliable. Ortiz nearly broke formation when he saw it. "No, that's..." I grabbed his harness and yanked him forward. "Don't look! Eyes on me!" But I couldn't stop myself from glancing back once more, and what I saw nearly rooted me to the spot. Every figure we passed was turning its head, following us with perfect synchronicity, their mouths forming the same words though no sound emerged. "Join us." The whispers cut sharper now, invasive like hot needles in my brain. My vision blurred at the edges. For a second, I wasn't running on that alien street anymore. I was frozen, locked in their eternal moment, screaming silently into the void. A hand shook me hard. Chen's voice snapped me back. "Captain, stay with us," I gasped, pulling air into lungs that felt crushed by unseen weight. The monument wasn't just controlling the dead, it was trying to claim us too. We reached the outer steps of the plaza when Harper skidded to a stop. His rifle rose instinctively. Figures blocked our escape. Dozens of them, soldiers, children, civilians, stood at the base of the path leading back to the ship. Their bodies jerked like broken marionettes, weapons raised though their faces were blank and lifeless. Ortiz cursed under his breath. "We're boxed in." "No," Harper growled, finger tightening on the trigger. "We make a hole." But Malik shoved his weapon down. "No, every shot just feeds it. The monument learns through force. The more we resist, the stronger it becomes. Then what the hell do we do?" Harper snapped. The answer came not from us but from the voices. "You already belong." The figures stepped forward. "Captain," Chen whispered, her voice breaking. "If we don't get off this planet now, we'll never leave." I scanned the mob, their jerking limbs and glowing eyes closing in. Every instinct screamed fight. Every tactical bone in my body screamed flee. But deep down, in the cold hollow of my chest, I knew the truth. This wasn't a planet we had discovered. It was a trap we had walked into, and the trap was tightening. We were boxed in. The frozen citizens, no, the enslaved puppets of this planet, shuffled forward. Their movements jerky but coordinated, blocking every path between us and the shuttle. "Captain," Malik said, his voice raw, "if we shoot our way through, the monument feeds on that energy. But if we don't, they'll tear us apart," Ortiz finished grimly. My grip on the pulse rifle tightened. It felt useless in my hands. We were soldiers, explorers, survivors. But here we were prey. "EMP charge," Chen said suddenly, fumbling with her pack. Her eyes were wide, but her hands moved with precision. "If they're linked through the monument, maybe I can disrupt the connection long enough to get us to the ship." "EMP," Harper barked. "On an alien energy field we don't even understand." "That'll fry us too!" "It's either that," Chen shot back, "or we wait to become part of their damned collection." She wasn't wrong. "Do it," I ordered. We fell back against the archway, forming a perimeter as Chen worked. Figures stumbled closer, their jerks smoothing into eerily synchronized strides. The whispers grew louder, threading under my skin. "Don't fight. Don't flee. Stay. Forever." I gritted my teeth, fighting the urge to lower my weapon to just stop. It would be so easy to let the voices in. Harper wasn't so strong. His rifle sagged, his breathing slowed. Maybe they're right," he muttered, eyes glassy. "Why are we running from peace? Snap out of it!" Ortiz grabbed him, shaking hard. But Harper shoved him off, gun swinging dangerously. "You don't hear it. It's beautiful. They're offering eternity." His finger twitched on the trigger. Harper, I roared. Before the shot could fire, Malik slammed his scanner against Harper's helmet. Static crackling over comms. Harper screamed, staggering back, the spell breaking for now. Keep him focused, I shouted. Shen, how long? 5 seconds. The mob was nearly on us. Their faces, gods, their faces. Still frozen mid-scream, but eyes alive, glowing with borrowed fire. Hands reached, fingers clawing, silent mouths still chanting the same cursed word join. Chen slammed the device onto the ground. A pulse of blue-white energy erupted outward. The effect was immediate. The mob convulsed, collapsing like puppets with cut strings. Their bodies hit the ground in grotesque silence, limbs twitching before going still. The whispers in my head cut to a dull hiss. Move! I barked. We sprinted, hurtling over the twitching forms. The shuttle loomed closer, its silver hull a promise of salvation. But the planet wasn't finished with us. The ground shuddered. The fissures widened, glowing hot with molten light. Towers bent unnaturally, forming archways that weren't there moments ago. And from those archways, more figures poured. Hundreds, thousands, all glowing brighter, their movements less broken, more coordinated. They're adapting, Malik gasped. The EMP only slowed it down. The monument is learning. Our path to the shuttle was closing. Captain, Ortiz shouted, pointing. Left flank, there's an opening. I saw it, a narrow breach between two collapsing towers. Risky, but better than being swallowed whole. Take it. We dove through the breach as debris rained down, plasma rifles lighting the way. Chen fell, scrambling to her feet just as Harper yanked her forward. The mob surged behind us, an endless tide of the dead, but not dead. The shuttle was only 100 meters away. 50. 30. I felt it then, not the ground shaking, not the heat of the fissures, but the pull. Time itself thickened, dragging at my limbs like quicksand. My legs felt encased in stone, every step harder than the last. The anomaly, Malik shouted, his voice warped like it was underwater. It's slowing us, trying to hold us. The mob wasn't slowed. They moved freely, unnaturally fast, their twisted bodies closing the gap with terrifying ease. Chen screamed, "We're not going to make it." "Yes, we are." I forced the words through the weight pressing against my chest. The shuttle's ramp was lowering, the autopilot recognizing our biosignatures. The warm glow of its lights looked like heaven itself. But Harper faltered. The whispers clawed back, stronger than ever, drilling straight into his skull. His legs buckled, and he crumpled to the ground, hands pressed against his helmet. "I can't." "Harper." Ortiz grabbed him, but the mob was too close. I turned, rifle blazing, cutting down the first wave. But every body that fell reformed, twisting itself upright again, closer, faster. "Leave him," Chen cried. "We'll all die if we stop." "No," Ortiz shouted, dragging Harper with brute strength. "Nobody gets left behind." I hesitated only a second, then covered them, firing until the rifle overheated. The three of them stumbled onto the ramp. I was the last, sprinting under fire from 1,000 silent screams. The ramp began to close as I dove inside. The mob slammed against the hull, hands clawing at the metal, faces pressed against the viewport as the shuttle engines roared to life. We were airborne. We had escaped, or so I thought, because as the city shrank below us, the monument pulsed one final time, and the whispers followed us into the sky. "You cannot leave." For the first 20 minutes after takeoff, nobody spoke. The shuttle cut through the black, autopilot guiding us toward the carrier in orbit. My hands trembled against the console, even though the danger, the planet itself, was shrinking behind us. It should have felt like victory. Instead, the silence weighed heavier than any loss I'd ever known. Harper sat slumped in his seat, helmet off, eyes vacant. Ortiz hovered beside him like a bodyguard, refusing to let go. Chen busied herself with damage reports, but her fingers shook over the display. Malik's scanner whined, lights flickering between green and a sickly red. "Talk to me," I said finally, my voice rasping. "What's the verdict?" Malik didn't look up. "The verdict is, we didn't escape." The words chilled me. "Explain." He turned the scanner so we could all see. A faint wave pulsed across the screen, rhythmic, steady, inescapable. "It's still here," Malik whispered. "The monument signal. It's embedded in us now. In our systems. It's in the ship." Chen swore under her breath. "That's impossible." "The EMP broke the connection. Only temporarily." Malik cut her off. "You saw what happened. It adapted. We didn't disrupt it. We carried it with us." The silence deepened. Harper laughed suddenly, a dry, humorless sound that sent shivers down my spine. "You're all just figuring that out now." he muttered, staring at the floor. It never let me go, not for a second. The lights flickered once, twice. Then the comms crackled to life, not with static, with whispers. Stay. Join forever. The same voices we had fled. Only now, they weren't muffled by atmosphere or filtered by helmets. They were inside the shuttle itself. Kill the comms, I barked. Chen shut them down, but the voices didn't stop. They slithered through the cabin, vibrating against our skulls, whispering in tones that felt more personal now. Captain, tired of fighting. Ortiz, you can't save him. Shen, wouldn't it be easier to sleep? Ortiz slammed his fists against the wall. Shut up! Shut up! But the whispers only grew more intimate, more poisonous. Harper stood suddenly. His movements were stiff, jerky. His pupils dilated, his skin pale. They're right, he said softly. We should stop running. We should give in. Ortiz grabbed him, but Harper shoved back with unnatural strength, sending Ortiz sprawling. His eyes locked on me. And for a moment, it wasn't Harper staring. It was something else wearing his skin. You can't win, Captain, he said, voice layered with echoes. You already belong to us. My stomach dropped. Harper? Fight it, I shouted. For a second, I thought I saw him flicker, his expression breaking, his lips trembling as if he wanted to resist. But then the whispers surged again, and Harper lunged at me. We collided against the cockpit bulkhead. His hands wrapped around my throat, stronger than I ever imagined. My vision darkened as I clawed at his grip. Ortiz roared, tackling him off me. The two struggled, fists flying, screams mixing with laughter that wasn't Harper's. Chen scrambled for a sedative injector. She jammed it against Harper's neck. He thrashed once, twice, then slumped, unconscious. Ortiz staggered back, breathing hard, blood trickling from his lip. What the hell was that? Malik's face was pale, horrified. Possession. Or infection. Whatever that signal is, it's inside him now. Maybe inside all of us. The thought turned my stomach. The shuttle jolted violently, alarms blaring. We were almost to the carrier, but the autopilot was failing. Chen cursed, slamming the console. Navigation's locked! Something's rewriting the system? The shuttle banked sharply, turning not toward the safety of the carrier, but back toward the planet. The monument was calling us home. No, I growled. Not again. I seized manual control, fighting the stick as if wrestling a living thing. The ship resisted, shuddering, groaning, its systems screaming. The whispers crescendoed, deafening now. Return. Return. Malik, I barked. Options. His hands flew over the scanner. We can't beat it from here. We'd need a hard reboot. Total systems wipe. That would kill life support? Chen shouted. It's either that, Malik shot back, or we're dragged straight back down. I stared at Harper's limp body, then at my crew, bloodied, terrified, but still alive. The choice was impossible. Risk death in the cold void or submit to eternity under that cursed monument. But leadership isn't about easy choices. It's about the choices you can live or die with. Do it, I said. Malik hesitated. Captain. Now. He slammed the command. The shuttle screamed as every light, every system, every ounce of power cut in an instant. We were plunged into total darkness, and for a heartbeat there was silence. Then the whispers returned, softer this time, but closer, almost inside our skulls. And in the black, Harper began to laugh again. At first there was nothing. Not the hum of systems, not the quiet beeps of navigation, not even the faint vibration of engines beneath our feet. Just the sound of our own breath, shallow, ragged, desperate. The darkness pressed in on us, thick and suffocating. The shuttle had gone dead, every light extinguished. We floated in black space, a coffin drifting in the void. My mind raced, calculating oxygen reserves. Without power, the scrubbers were offline. We had hours, maybe less, before the air turned toxic. And yet the whispers had not died with the systems. They grew louder. Cold, alone, helpless, I clenched my teeth, forcing myself not to shiver. Stay calm, I ordered, though my voice cracked. Malik, give me a manual check on reserves. Chen, see if you can get emergency lights back online. Neither moved. Instead, they stared at me, their eyes wide, reflecting some faint glow I couldn't see. Ortiz finally broke the silence. Captain, they're still here. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking past me, into the dark corner where Harper's unconscious body had been strapped. But Harper wasn't there anymore. The restraints dangled loose. I froze. Where is he? Chen's voice shook. I sedated him. He shouldn't even be conscious yet. The whispers pulsed stronger now, almost like a heartbeat inside the walls. He is ours. A soft scrape echoed from the rear of the shuttle, metal against metal. Slow, deliberate. We turned in unison, straining to see through the black. Then Harper's voice emerged from the shadows. Not his voice. Not fully. I told you. You can't run. You can't fight. You belong to the monument now. Ortiz cursed, fumbling for a flashlight. Its beam flickered weakly to life, sweeping the cabin. And there he was, Harper, standing at the far wall, eyes glowing faintly white, lips twisted in a grin that wasn't human. Harper, I said, forcing steadiness into my voice. Fight it. Don't let it take you. His grin widened. Why fight paradise? Malik snapped. He lunged forward, trying to tackle Harper, but Harper moved with impossible speed. He sidestepped, grabbed Malik's arm, and twisted. The sound of bone snapping echoed like a gunshot. Malik screamed, collapsing to the floor. The whispers roared in triumph. One by one. Yourselves. Forever. Chen pulled a wrench from under her seat, swinging wildly. It connected with Harper's shoulder, hard enough that the crack of bone should have dropped him, but Harper barely flinched. Instead, he turned his glowing eyes toward her. You don't matter, he said, voice echoing. None of you do. You're just vessels empty. Waiting. Chen froze, and for a terrifying second I thought she was about to drop the wrench, surrendering to the voice. Chen, I barked, snapping her back. Focus! She swung again, this time connecting with his jaw. Harper staggered back, hissing like steam escaping a broken pipe. Ortiz moved in, pinning him against the wall. Captain, tie him down. I fumbled in the dark, grabbing loose straps, looping them around Harper's thrashing body. His laughter filled the cabin, manic, unending. Then, silence. The whispers cut off. Harper slumped, head dropping forward, unconscious again. The only sound was Malik's labored breathing, his arm bent at an unnatural angle. Chen whispered, What the hell are we fighting? This isn't human. This isn't natural. It doesn't end. Her voice trembled, but there was anger underneath. Fear turned rage. I met her eyes in the dark. Then we don't let it win, not here. Not in our ship. Ortiz tightened the restraints around Harper. And what if it's already too late? What if it's inside all of us? For the first time since this nightmare began, I didn't have an answer. The darkness stretched on, broken only by the shallow rasp of our breathing. Then, a spark. Chen gasped as a faint blue glow flickered on the console. Emergency power trying to reboot. For a moment I felt hope, but then the glow twisted. Formed shapes, not numbers. Not diagnostics. Faces. Dozens of faces pressed against the glass, screaming silently, mouths frozen wide. The lost civilization. The ones who'd been consumed before us. The whispers returned, louder than ever, vibrating through our bones. Join us. And in the faint light, Harper's head snapped up, smiling again. The faces on the console flickered like static, screaming, twisting, dissolving into nothingness. Malik groaned on the floor, his broken arm clutched tight against his chest. Chen hovered near him, torn between panic and duty. Ortiz stood like a sentinel over Harper's restrained body, but I could see the doubt in his eyes. Doubt and fear. I leaned close to the console, staring at the ghostly faces, not data. Not code. Just memory. A prison made of light. Captain, Chen whispered, her voice shaking, that's showing us what it's already consumed. The civilization. All of them. The whispers surged again, pouring through the walls like venom. They were weak. You are weaker. I slammed a fist against the console. No, we are not weak. Desperation breeds ideas. Our weapons were useless against something intangible, something that lived in thought, memory, time itself. But the shuttle still had a prototype field generator, a piece of tech we were supposed to test near the monument, a weaponized distortion of gravitational energy. If we could overload it, maybe we could disrupt the anomaly's hold, or fry ourselves trying. I pulled myself toward the emergency panel, fingers shaking as I unlatched the access locks. Chen's eyes widened. You can't be serious. If you overload the generator, you'll destabilize the shuttle. It could tear us apart. Better torn apart than swallowed whole. Ortiz snapped. He adjusted his grip on Harper's restraints, glaring at the unconscious form that seemed to twitch with every whisper. For once, Chen didn't argue. She just nodded, lips pressed thin. We worked in silence, save for Malik's ragged breaths and the endless pulse of whispers. I rewired the fail-safes, hands slick with sweat inside my gloves. Chen rerouted power from life support to amplify the surge. Ortiz armed the manual trigger, a crude lever that would flood the generator until it burned itself alive. All the while, Harper chuckled softly in his sleep. Or maybe he wasn't asleep at all. You can't kill what isn't alive, he murmured. You can't fight eternity. Ortiz's jaw clenched. Shut up, but Harper's voice grew louder, stronger. Not just his voice anymore, but a chorus. You are ours already, you are echoes. You just don't know it yet. The generator's hum deepened. My teeth rattled in my skull. The air grew thin, charged with static. Chen shouted over the noise, "Ready on your mark, Captain." I gripped the lever, heart pounding. This was it, our last chance. Then Harper's head snapped up. His restraint strained against the metal. His glowing eyes burned into me. "If you pull that lever," he hissed, "you'll destroy more than yourselves. You'll tear open the veil. You'll set us free." For a heartbeat, I froze. Was he bluffing? Or was the generator not just our salvation, but the monument's release valve? "Captain," Ortiz barked. "Do it." I pulled. The generator screamed. Light erupted from its core, flooding the shuttle with blinding radiance. The whispers howled in rage and agony, 1,000 voices colliding into a single shriek. The walls rippled. Time itself seemed to ripple. The frozen monument outside flared, its impossible geometry twisting into new shapes. For an instant, I thought I saw the city again, the civilization frozen in their final breath. And then they dissolved, scattered like dust into the void. Harper convulsed. His eyes rolled back, mouth opening wide in a scream that wasn't his own. The restraint snapped one by one as he thrashed, body glowing like molten iron. Ortiz lunged forward, pinning him down with sheer brute strength, shouting curses through clenched teeth. "Hold him," I screamed. Chen slammed her palm against the manual stabilizer, fighting to keep the overload contained. Sparks rained down, scorching her hands, but she didn't stop. Malik, pale and shaking, dragged himself upright with one good arm. He pressed his forehead to the console and whispered through his teeth, come on, burn, you bastard." Then, silence. The whispers ceased. The glow faded. The generator went dark, its core cracked and smoking. We floated in the dark again, panting, trembling. Harper lay still, eyes closed, chest unmoving. For the first time since this nightmare began, he looked human. Chen collapsed against the wall, sobbing quietly. Ortiz leaned back, his face streaked with sweat, hands shaking. Malik slumped unconscious, finally spent. For a fragile moment, I thought we'd won. Then, faint as breath on glass, a voice curled through the silence. You opened the door. The console flickered back to life. But this time it wasn't faces, it was a window, and through it, something vast was moving, something that had been waiting, watching for far longer than we could comprehend. Not the monument, not the whispers, something worse, something free. The console's glow pulsed faintly, like the last heartbeat of a dying star. None of us spoke at first. We were too drained, too hollow. Chen cradled her burned hands against her chest. Malik lay unconscious, his breath shallow but steady. Ortiz sat slumped beside Harper's still body, eyes distant, as though staring straight through him. I floated in silence, listening, waiting, no whispers, no faces. Just the hum of a wounded shuttle holding itself together by threads. We did it, Chen finally whispered. But her voice cracked on the last word, as though she didn't believe it. We hadn't escaped. We all knew that. The monument loomed outside the viewport, warped and fractured, but not destroyed. The generator's overload had done something, shaken it, wounded it. But in the process, it had ripped open something else. The door Harper warned us about. I stared at the console, the faint glow reflecting in my visor. The window was gone, but the memory of what I'd glimpsed beyond it clung to me like ice. A presence vast enough to dwarf galaxies, a hunger older than time, and it had seen us. Ortiz broke the silence first. "We can't go back." Chen looked up, eyes rimmed red. "What do you mean?" He shook his head slowly. "If we try to return, if we carry even a piece of this thing with us, Earth will be next. You know it." The weight of his words pressed down on all of us. He was right. The anomaly didn't just consume civilizations, it spread, infecting memory, bending time, feeding on everything it touched. And now, it had touched us. Chen swallowed hard. "So what, we die out here? That's your solution?" Ortiz didn't answer, but I did. "Yes," I said quietly. "If it means Earth lives, yes." It was the kind of decision you never trained for. No manual, no command protocol could tell us how to face the end. Chen buried her face in her hands, shoulders shaking. Ortiz closed his eyes, whispering a prayer in Spanish under his breath. Malik stirred faintly, murmuring my name like a child calling for a parent. And me, I opened the comms panel. Fingers trembling, I began to type, "Mission log 42, final entry. If anyone receives this, know that we fought. We gave everything we had to hold back what waits in the dark. Do not come looking for us. Do not seek the monument. Some doors are not meant to be opened. To my family, if this reaches you, I'm sorry. I wanted to come home. God, I wanted it more than anything. But I can't risk bringing this thing back with me. Please tell the kids I was thinking of them until the very last second. Tell them I tried. My vision blurred, tears floating like fragile pearls in zero gravity. Chen floated closer, her voice raw. Captain, can I add something? I nodded. She leaned over, whispering into the recorder. To anyone who listens, remember us. Not as victims, but as proof. Proof that humanity stood at the edge of eternity and said no. We fought even when fighting meant dying. Her words broke me. Ortiz added nothing, just placed a steady hand on my shoulder. That was enough. We prepared the shuttle for its final act. Chen rerouted every remaining ounce of power into the engine core. Ortiz armed the manual ignition. When the sequence started, there would be no stopping it. The shuttle would collapse in on itself, taking us and the fractured monument in one last blaze. I sat back in the captain's chair, staring at the stars one final time. How beautiful they looked, even here, even now. Eternal witnesses to our small, fragile defiance. Malik's voice stirred faintly, half dreaming. My chest cracked open. But I didn't correct him. Let him dream of home. The console blinked once. The transmission light flared green. Our final message, hurtling toward Earth at the speed of light. Maybe it would reach them. Maybe not. But we had done what we could. I took one last breath, filling my lungs with the thin, recycled air. Goodbye, I whispered. Then Ortiz pulled the trigger. The shuttle roared. The engine core detonated. A fireball of impossible light consumed the chamber. For a brief, searing instant, I saw the monument collapse inward, dragged screaming into the void we had carved. And then nothing. No whispers, no faces, no fear, just silence.